Всем привет. And today's a very special day for me because actually today will mark 6 months nicotine free. Don't worry, this is a herbal cigarette. And in days that would be 182 and a half days. No nicotine. And this is a big deal for me because I have been using nicotine pretty much in a daily fashion or pretty regular fashion since my junior year of high school. So we're talking about like a 12-year habit that I've kicked. For me personally, I don't think it was like a super like regular habit until I turned 18 and was able to buy stuff on my own, at least here in the States before they changed the law to like 21 or whatever. So yeah, a lot of states are like 21 years old. It might be like the new national age now. I don't know. I'm an old fart, so I don't fucking care anymore. But we changed to 21. But you know, I came from a time where you were an adult pretty much completely at 18, except for being able to drink. But you could still die in a foreign battlefield at that age. Crazy. I started nicotine again my junior year of high school. It was introduced to me by a best friend at the time that I had, and then like a mutual that we had. And basically, if I'm remembering correctly, back in those days, one of my buddies was in debt to the other buddy, and one of the ways that the other buddy could pay him off was basically just like stealing packs of his mom's cigarettes and giving them to him. So my first cigarette that I ever smoked was, I think, a Magnum Light. Let me type this in really quick. Magnum Light. Maverick Light, my dumbass. It was a Maverick Light. And, like a Maverick Light 100 maybe, or something like that. Like the gray package. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a white package, outer with like a pinstripe gray and a gold eagle in the middle. Or maybe reverse of that, but yeah, it is basically like a light cigarette. And both of them had stayed the night at my place, and we were actually just kind of chilling out really late night in like my front yard. I kind of lived out more in the country. Like I grew up on a, well, I didn't grow up on a farm, but in high school I was on a homestead. And there was a old utility shed that was in the woods in my property, and there was always like a nice little foot trail that kind of led there. So I kind of was, you know, young and geeked out and didn't want, you know, my mom or my dad to like walk around and in suspicion that we were doing something, because you know it's 3 teenage boys, and I didn't want them to figure out that you know, we were smoking cigarettes. So I tried to keep us more hidden in the back, and that was basically my first light of a cigarette ever. All I can remember, and honestly, besides like maybe some weed and like opiates, that was like one of, nah, never mind. It was probably like my fourth or fifth substance I ever tried was nicotine. And I just remember that really fuzzy feeling around all my limbs, but it was obviously like the most powerful that I had ever felt in my life, as is everybody's first cigarette. And that's, I think, what all of us old nicotine addicts were trying to chase, was that feeling of the first cigarette. Because it truly is an unparalleled sensation. But again, it only happens once. Kind of like the old wives' tale where you can probably use heroin once and it might let you get away, but if you do it twice, you're in for life, type of thing. It's actually much the same way, in my opinion, with tobacco. And like, look, I even tried to convince myself years ago that I could still enjoy this addiction with water vapor. So when I was 18, it took very little convincing for me to switch over to vapes. And honestly, that was probably my method of choice because I can make it more potent than cigarettes. And I could constantly intake it. I mean, look, my first box mod, you know, once I finally stepped away from those god awful like Ego Twist 2 batteries that were like cylindrical shape. My first box mod I ever bought was an Evic Mini 2. It was a smaller version of the Evic VTC. The Evic VTC had like a built-in battery, so it was kind of a con with the device. And the regular size VTC was pretty recognizable because it actually had like a car pinstripe paint job. You could get it in like white, blue pinstripes or black and red. I think one of my buddies had the white or the black with the red pinstripes back in the day, actually. It wasn't a bad mod, but I really didn't like the fact that the battery wasn't interchangeable. So that's what really sold me on the Evic VTC Mini. I kind of been dabbling with like cheaper pens, and I didn't even really understand like how the tanks worked back in the day. Like back in the day, I used to get like these really weird vape tanks that I'll never probably see again, but they were actually kind of decent quality. It was like the threads and everything was like metal. Even the mouthpiece was metal, and it moved on like a ball swivel, so it like wasn't fixed, and like the likelihood of you snapping your teeth maybe wasn't like, or, you know, chipping your teeth on it wasn't as high or something. I don't know. But it had the strangest coil in that it was just like some weird like nylon wick, and it was really long. And I never quite understood at that point that I could just change those out, so my dumbass just kept buying like new tanks like they were pods, kind of, right? But all of that went away in March 2016, and you're not gonna believe this. If you remember the day that H3H3 pod, you know, you're showing your internet age if you remember this, but if you remember back when H3H3 Productions first released the Vape Nash vid, I swear to fucking God, that's the day I bought my first box mod. That's the day I bought my first Evic VTC Mini. I had the gold one. I don't have it anymore. I actually gave it to a buddy who like programmed like Flappy Bird onto it and shit, and it was really cool. But I don't know. I'm assuming he probably traded it or got rid of it. And then I'm trying to remember the mod I had after that, but my memory's kind of blurry on that one. But the next mod that I can actually remember getting was the Smoke Alien. I bought two of those. They were actually fucking garbage because after some time, like, it was just like a time bomb. Like, I'd wake up and the thing would just be misfiring. I'd hit it once and it wouldn't stop. So it was like a nightmare when I have like my actual RDA on it and the fucking wires are like glowing hot. I let my coworker try it once and I thought I'd solve like this malfunctioning issue. Cause Smoke was like a fucking shit ass company. And they release these firmware updates all the time, and never did they really make any effort to tell you at the places you bought them from, or even themselves that like, hey, you actually have to like hold the fire button down and plug your vape into the computer so you can update the firmware. So basically, if you were found like using a different type of charger or plugging into a different power source, this would probably corrupt it and then cause it to start auto firing, and that was like a huge liability. to the point where I don't think I fucking saw smoke products ever again a few years after that. My personal favorite mod that I ever had myself was the Sigeli Chaos Spectrum. That thing was badass. It was kind of like a deep violet grayish black metallic color. I don't know how to explain it, but it also had this nice like leather hand strap type of thing, and the adjustable, like the display was just so seamless, and it operated so well. Oh man. And it also had that neat LED trim around the display, and you could like, I mean, honestly, after a while, I turned it off to conserve battery life, but it was a cool thing to behold. And that thing with like a smoke V8 coil or V12 coil, unfucking stoppable. And I rocked that thing for a really long time. I think my last freebase juice base box mod that I ever personally had was probably the Vupu Drag. And then from then on, I think I went back to cigarettes for a while. Then I kind of got off cigarettes again and went to oh, that's what it was. Whatever pod device that Smoke used to make, which actually was successful for a while, that was like one I had like after the Juul was a thing. And yeah, so I've been around the block. I've basically seen every major development in vaping at least since like I've paid attention to it in like 2012. So damn near the beginning. It was a crazy adventure, but I can't say that I can't help but to feel nervous for the future. Like, you know, it was marketed to us as like first a smoking cessation tool, then it was starting to get marketed as a healthier or less intrusive way of indulging in nicotine because, well, at least it smells nice. But, you know, they keep saying it's healthier and healthier, and I get it, and I understand. I understand that nicotine isn't a carcinogen, but still, it's a lot of stress to be putting on your heart, just sucking on fucking nicotine all day. Nicotine salts, too, which are arguably stronger than cigarettes and freebase nicotine juice combined. So I guess like now that I kind of gave you the full rundown, by the time it was like 2021, it was basically completely on like the gas station disposable vape circuit, and I was probably 24 at that point. So from 24 to like 28 years old, I was like on gas station vapes almost nonstop. And that's when I probably started noticing like most of the detriments to my health. My breathing was a lot noticeably worse. I couldn't be as physically active as I used to be. I started feeling like a lot of pain in my legs all the time, like years and years into this, and like, you know, finally, you know, I'd have success for a few months, then be like, oh, I want to get a vape and get a vape type shit. And that really stifled my progress for like a long time. But you know, I had my preferences and stuff, but I moved away from the gas station I was used to, so I didn't really have much of an option but to try something new. So I did, and you know, I don't care. They can send me a cease and desist if they want, but I strongly feel like their product almost fucking killed me. Do not buy Doozy Ice Cube vapes. Do not buy them. I bought one, just one. I like cranberry, and I thought the proposition of having a cranberry mentholated nicotine vape was going to be very tasty. And don't get me wrong, it was. And a lot of my coworkers also commented that it smelled really good and pleasant too, and not like really like in your face and obnoxious as most of these like desserty flavors tend to get, right? No, it's not really like that. I was more of like a fruit or mint vape guy. But you know, it was nice the first day, and it was exceptionally hot and humid up here around Lake Michigan. So like, I was starting to get like a really stuffy nose. But oh my god, dude! Like, I swear that didn't happen until I started hitting that ice cube, right? And like, I'm sitting there. I work like an all day at work. I'm like, this ain't right, man. Like, something bad's gonna happen. And then like, I don't know. Something happened. I took a lunch break the next day. I sat in my car and like, I instantly felt like my body temp drop, bro. Like, I'm starting to feel exceptionally fucking sick, and like, all sorts of bad things are happening. Like, my lymph nodes are swelling like crazy. I'm in so much pain. I'm sweating like crazy. Um and like, of course, like, I'm addicted to nicotine, so I haven't made that connection. Like, oh, maybe it's this vape that I keep hitting. So, you know, you're just like, you know, keep doing that, not thinking about it, and it starts really exacerbating your symptoms. And then you kind of get to the end of it and you're like, wait a second, I have felt sick the entire time I've had this vape. Imagine being sick for like 2.5 fucking weeks in the middle of summer. That's really fucking fun. Not. Um, so I made a decision. You know, I didn't really want to, but I made at the time. Well, you know what? I take that back. I think I was ready at that time, because I was like, you know what, man, this shit isn't worth my health anymore. I'm tired. It gave me GERD. I have chest pain all the time because of it now. It's literally like destroying my body type shit. Like, I had to get around with it. And I told myself that I wanted to be nicotine free by the time I was 30, when I was 25. And the thing is, when I was 25, I quit. And I quit for quite a few months. And then my dumbass was like, I'm just gonna get one and be destructive because my life sucks right now. And I did good on that till probably 2022. Then I quit again in January 2023. Then got back on it in March 2023 when I started working at this acid plant. And then after that, I was pretty much consistently using nicotine until like July or August of 2025, at least in a vape fashion. So I said it wasn't worth it anymore, and like, you know, I had gotten cold turkey many of times, and I don't have the time for it anymore. So what I did this past time, which actually really helped for me, and if you're a heavy vapor like I was, you might actually want to use this as well. I started using Zyn pouches, or whatever nicotine pouch you have available to you in your market. And I mean nicotine pouch, not like snooze pouch. Just start using those. I used the wintergreen Zyn pouch. I purposely went with less milligrammage because I was like, I'm gonna taper myself off, but I kind of want to kickstart that hump a little quicker, you know? So, the only rule that I had was I would never allow myself to put more than 2 in my mouth at a time. And honestly, there are only maybe like 2 or 3 instances in the beginning where I was like doing that because I thought I needed it. I didn't really need it. But what I found that the Zuns did for me, it actually made nicotine a very boring fucking experience for me. Like, I just really thought it was lackluster. It felt like a diet version of what I had been, like, ramping myself up with for over a decade at that point. And, like, I just really hated that feeling of, like, the alligator skin in my mouth, because, like, I constantly had these mesh bags of nicotine in my mouth type of thing, you know? It's just, like, it's not a pleasant sensation. And I've lived long enough, you know, I've had my fun with the substance. I've had as many baby highs that it's going to give me as possible. And I've realized that a lot of detrimental things, funnily enough, in my life have came from a very, very high addiction to nicotine and caffeine, and probably high amounts of those things in tandem. Now, my caffeine intake on that note fluctuates. That's not really at a steady pace, but I would say I'm at like a very lower level than I was even like back in the summer. I mean, I was drinking so much coffee is like a stress thing. Like, you know, imagine taking a shit like every 40 minutes on your day off type of thing. And to like wrap things up, you know, do I miss nicotine? You know, let me be transparent. I definitely still have cravings. But I'm not really like ever like, man, a cigarette would be nice. Now, I'm a former alcoholic, and I'll be honest too and say like, sometimes they'll be like, man, I really fucking want to drink, and I still don't act on it. Like recently, like life's been kind of fucked up the past couple days, and I'm like, man, I want a 6-pack so fucking bad. And like, I do want it, and I might actually get it. But it's like one of those things where it's like, and for me, it's gotta be hard cider now, because I think alcoholism gave me celiac disease. That's a conspiracy theory, though. You know, for me, I know my limitations with that, and I've been like mature, but I'm also very self-aware, and I know that I really love nicotine, and I can't have that same type of relationship with nicotine. I mean, I think they slate this as being like the second hardest substance known to man to like kick, and that's just fucking wild to me, bro. Yeah. And that's about all. Like, I don't really miss nicotine. I have my fun with it. I think it's something we all secretly do to kind of look cool instead of like, because we enjoy it, and then we're kind of like trapped into it. But yeah, if you're seeing this video, bro, like, it's worth it, man. I can breathe healthily. I can run, I can exercise, I don't feel winded all the time, I can taste food, my boogers aren't yellow anymore, it's great, man. And I'm a healthy weight, I'm not cold in the snow anymore. I survived the whole cold snap, bro. If I was raping, I would have been like, but you know what? I wasn't vaping, and I had those arteries opened up, maximum blood flow, if you know what I'm saying. So, that fucking frost was no big deal. NBD. Anyways, I'm being fucking stupid now, so quit nicotine. It's worth it. Peace.